It's been another attack in a string of attacks against the Jewish people.
We begin with breaking news out of London this morning. A local group says 2 people have been stabbed in a Jewish neighborhood. It follows a series of anti-Semitic attacks in the city. Today's violence broke out in Golders Green, which is northwest of London. And there are reports the stabbing happened outside a synagogue.
CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio joins us now from our London newsroom with more. So, Ramy, what are you learning?
Yeah, guys, those 2 people who were stabbed have been identified as 2 Jewish men, and this is confirmed by London's Mayor Sadiq Khan, along with our partners here at the BBC. Those 2 men, we understand, are seriously injured, and there is a local Jewish security group here called Shomrim, and they say that they saw a man with a knife seen running down the main road there, attempting to, quote, stab Jewish people. One resident in this Jewish neighborhood of Golders Green said one of the injured men was stabbed outside a shop, the other outside that synagogue that you mentioned. Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the time was addressing British lawmakers when this news hit. Here he is.
Now, my first thing is, I wonder why they say he was only going after Jewish people. Now, I know he stabbed 2 Jewish people, but was that his only targets? Is that all he cared about, is that they were Jewish? But let's keep going into this and see what we can find out.
It is deeply concerning to everyone in this House. There is now a police investigation, and I think we all need to do everything we can to support that investigation and be absolutely clear in our determination to deal with any of these offences, the like of which we've seen too much recently.
And the Metropolitan Police have issued a statement. They say that the suspect is a 45-year-old man. They are attempting to understand his nationality. They say he also attempted to stab police officers, that he was tasered, and then he was arrested. They also say no officers were injured. That suspect is now, we understand, according to the Met Police, facing charges of attempted murder.
This is a crazy situation, y'all. First question I got is, why didn't they shoot him? Because if he's coming at him with a knife, just thinking about what happens in the United States, the cops would have shot him quick. But let's keep going into this.
Ramy, give us a bit of the picture of the overall context here, because we've been reporting on similar, on attacks, particularly in the London area against the Jewish community. Tell us a bit about what the current state of anti-Semitism is.
Sure, and frankly, not just in London, but across the United Kingdom. According to the data here, it appears very much that anti-Semitic attacks are near record levels. There's a British Jewish charity called the Community Security Trust. It tracks anti-Jewish hate crimes, and they point out that in 2025, last year, it recorded about 3,700 anti-Semitic incidents. This is the second highest annual total that they've ever recorded. It's more than double from just a couple years ago, back in 2023. And, putting that into perspective, that is the same time that the Israel-Gaza war did kick off. The surge we're seeing is being attributed to that war. And that charity is saying that half of all the incidents have been referencing Israel, the war, Hamas. And then from the UK Parliament here, they point out, despite the Jewish community making up less than 1% of what they call the religious population, that anti-Semitic hate crimes account for almost a quarter of all the religious hate crimes happening across this country. Case in point, over the past year, last June at Glastonbury Music Festival, there was a punk rap duo that led chants to death to the IDF. This is the Israel Defense Forces. That was then broadcast live on the BBC. Last October, we also were reporting a man driving into a car into worshippers. This is outside of Manchester at a synagogue, also killing 2 people there. So the numbers do bear this out, that the rise in anti-Semitic incidents is there and at its second highest level.
Now, see, I will never understand, I will truly never understand why someone who has nothing to do with the war, I don't care what side you're on, who you're going for in the war, but why attack someone who has nothing to do with it, just trying to live their life? They're not even in the country. What are we doing? We need to be able to have healthy discussions, but to go out and just immediately try to kill someone who has a different view than you do, that is something psychotic. Let's go over into this next video and see what else we can find out. This next one's just a little short video of him getting tackled. Of course, they're not going to show his face. Let's get over to this next one.
First, we're going to London on the programme, where 2 people have been stabbed today in the north of the city in Golders Green, an area with a significant Jewish population. A 45-year-old man has been arrested on charges of attempted murder, and within the last hour, police have declared the stabbings a terrorist incident.
I can also confirm that this has now formally been declared a terrorist incident. Our highly specialised teams of officers are working with the Metropolitan Police to progress this investigation quickly and establish exactly what has happened. We're also working with our partners in the security services to ensure we have a full intelligence picture.
Well, with me now is our London correspondent, Bénédicte Pervieux. Bénédicte, give us a sense then of what it is that unfolded in the north of London earlier on today.
Well, this is clearly a very serious incident, just been declared a terrorist incident by the Metropolitan Police, a very heavy police presence there. The incident happened at about 11:20 a.m. Local time, and 2 Jewish men were attacked and are seriously injured, but we're told they're in a stable condition. They were attacked and stabbed by a 45-year-old man in Golders Green, a very well-known northwest London Jewish community there. And this was actually meters away from where just a few weeks ago there was that arson attack, you'll remember, on a synagogue where some Jewish ambulances were torched. So the 2 men have been taken to hospital. As I said, they're in a stable condition. We understand that a 3rd person sustained slight injuries. We also understand that the 45-year-old suspected attacker tried to actually stab the police, but he was unsuccessful. They are trying to establish, he was arrested, tasered and arrested, and they are trying to establish his nationality, we are told, and also his background. This is just the latest in a spate of very serious anti-Semitic attacks, particularly in the British capital, but also elsewhere in the UK.
Indeed, and that is something, Bénédicte, that leaders of the Jewish community in the UK have been, reiterating for weeks now. They say, look, our community is under threat.
Yes, I've listened to very many Jewish leaders who are shocked, but in some way not surprised, because there were something like 3,700 anti-Semitic attacks last year. They're not all as serious as the one that has just taken place this morning in the British capital. But of course, there was that deadly attack and against a synagogue last year in Manchester. So the police and the intelligence services are obviously mobilized and have been looking at this very carefully. These arson attacks on synagogues, some that have actually caused damage, others that have or could have caused very serious damage, even fatalities, certainly injuries. And there is possibly an Iranian link. That is something the police are investigating. I'm not referring, to be clear, about today's incident, but in a recent spate of incidents, a pro-Iranian group called Harakat Ashab al-Yamin al-Islamiyya has claimed some of these latest attacks on social media. So that is unverified as of yet whether they were behind those attacks. Officials have warned here recently that Iran has actually sought to use proxies, low-level criminals here, paying them money to carry out hostile activity in the UK. And that is where the last 6 weeks, and particularly since the war in Iran has happened. But of course, what is not lost on anybody is that very much since October 23 and the Hamas assault on Israel that triggered the war in Gaza. That is when there have been a lot of protests, when there have been some very serious incidents as well of people who are radicalized and who are very anti-Semitic. And that is an ongoing problem. So there is fear, concern, and what the Jewish community is saying is they don't just want statements as good as they are from the prime minister or the leader of the opposition or other politicians. They want action, more protection.
I mean, it makes sense they want more protection. Whatever they're doing now isn't protecting the people who it's meant to. But she did bring up something crazy, just the fact that it's possible that they're getting paid to do this type of stuff, which is not surprising because if anybody want to make some money, they'll do whatever they have to do. But especially criminals. Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into the AI breakdown just to find out a little bit more information about this whole attack. So as we know, on Wednesday, April 29th, London police declared a stabbing attack in the for a terrorist incident. 2 Jewish men, ages 76 and 34, were injured by a 45-year-old assailant who was reportedly hunting for anyone visibly Jewish. Both victims are in currently stable condition. Okay, I think I initially said they died, but it looks like not. Good. The stabbing is the latest in a significant spat of anti-Semitic attacks in London during March and April. So we had a couple of attacks that happened. We had this most recent one. Then we had just the day before a suspect arson attack targeted a memorial wall. And then we got an arson attack at the synagogue on April 19th. April 17th, a bag containing bottles of fluid were left at a building in the formerly occupied Charity of Jewish Futures. April 15th, an attempted firebombing at the synagogue. And then March 23rd, 4 ambulances belonging to the, I'm not even going to try to say volunteer service, were destroyed in a firebombing at the synagogue. So counterterrorism police are leading the investigating into the stabbing. The suspect has a history of serious violence and mental health issues. Authorities are investigating if these coordinated attacks are linked to Iran or its proxies. So as of late April, over 27 arrests have been made in connection with these series of attacks. So as we know, the Prime Minister said this is utterly appalling. We got the London mayor said it's disgusting. Chief Rabbi warned that these sustained campaigns of violence and intimidation is gathering momentum and demands meaningful action from all institutions. They can't, I mean, what are they going to do? At the end of the day, that is the biggest question. What are they going to do to protect the Jewish people who are being targeted? And at what point is it going to stop? Is it when the war ends? Or is this something we just got to deal with for the foreseeable future? But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said.